Hi y'all, my name's Misty. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do today Brian Cormack Carr's tarot tag, TarotTools Trio. Bit of a tongue twister there. To be honest, I was a little intimidated by this tag and I wasn't quite sure that I was going to do it, but I've been thinking about it since I've started watching all the videos, and I figured why not go ahead and do it. I mean, face that fear, go ahead and do this scary video. I was just intimidated because everybody's videos are so well put together, and me, I just sit in my room and do them off the cuff and just talk about, whatever comes into my head. Alright, what the tag is 3 decks that you would take with you, 3 tarot books you would take with you, 3 spreads you would take with you, and then a wild card, whatever else you think you would need if you were going to be away from your little tarot space for any length of time. Gonna be a little bit of a rebel here. I have 2 tarot decks, and then 1 not tarot deck, simply because that's what I would want with me if I was going to be away for a while. So, okay, let's go first to the decks. The first deck that I would want with me is one I've been using this month, my Carol Herzer's Illuminated Tarot. Don't fall out of the bag. One of the reasons I think this would be a good deck to take with you is because it's such a small deck. I don't have a very big purse. I don't carry a lot of stuff with me. This, I think, would fit really good in just a small, basic purse. Plus, the little tarot bag that it came with is so well made. It's double, it's lined, so it's a little bit thicker, and I don't think anything would happen to the cards because that is such a good bag. One of the reasons why I think this would be a good deck to take with you is, there's the devil, because the colors are so pretty. If you pulled this out, say on an airplane or at a bus terminal or at a bar or wherever you happen to be, I think the fact that the card colors are so striking, it's a soft deck. It's not, there's no harsh lines to it. I don't think anybody would be scared of this deck. Plus, it wouldn't take up a lot of space on those areas. So yeah, I would take this little deck simply because I just really like it. Plus, with it being in its little case, make sure all the cards are down there so none of them get bent. That would be awful. It packs up so tiny. Look how small that is. It's perfect for a small purse, your carry-on luggage, or even just tuck it into a corner of your suitcase, which I think would be really, really good. Now, the second deck I've talked about before also in other videos. Again, has a very sturdy bag. It's not the best as far as opening and closing. It comes open pretty easy, but is my Everyday Witch Tarot. I just think this is sort of like my hug deck. When I'm feeling down or just a little bit stressed, this deck always brings a smile to my face. It's such a sweet deck. It's such a happy deck. Even with some of the more not quite so happy cards. It's very non-threatening. I know that seems to be a theme, but you know, if I were to like whip these out somewhere because someone wanted a reading, it's just a very whimsical deck, and I like that. Plus, one of the factors that I would take this with me is it's a mass-produced deck. Yeah, the cardstock is pretty flimsy, but if something happened to this deck, I could get it again. It's not something that, you know, I mean, I probably wouldn't take like my Gothic Bohemian with me on an extended road trip, because no telling what would happen to that deck. Well, I might take the first printing with me. So yeah, this is another deck that I would take with me. Basically because I do have a tendency when I'm traveling to lose stuff. So that would probably come into that factor too. So now this third deck, like I said, is not a tarot deck. This third deck is a little mass-produced Lenormand deck. Showed it in a couple of my other videos. It's the one that I tried to trim. Didn't do the best job trimming, but I would definitely want to have a Lenormand deck with me. For me and Lenormand, it's just an oracle system that clicked with me. I find it very easy to read with. It's more, it doesn't have to be read that way, but this for me is more of a kind of like a fortune telling kind of deck. If someone asks me if their spouse is cheating on them, where their keys are, is that a good job for them, you know, those kind of questions, I feel more comfortable answering with a Lenormand deck. It's just a system that I really like, and I would like to have with me if I'm not here, if I don't have access to my other decks and my other oracle decks. And that one, again, the fact that it's mass-produced, easy to get a hold of again, I wouldn't quite be so paranoid having it when I'm not in my safe haven, basically. Now, the second question is, what are the 3 tarot books that you would take with you if you were going to be away? Now, like I said in a past video, I don't really have a lot of tarot books. I think before this month I had 3. Forest of Souls, which I believe is a Rachel Pollack book that's downstairs, which is a very, very good book. Tarot Journaling, which is also another good book. I had, and then I bought Kitchen Table Tarot. Now those other 2 books, while really good books, they're not really, you know, this card means this, that card means that kind of book. I would definitely, if I was going to be away from my space, I would take the Kitchen Table Tarot. I love this book. I love the author, and I hope that eventually she does write more tarot books. I think, I just love her voice. I just love the stories that she uses in her books as examples, and I love the fact that her philosophy is basically you do you. A lot of her meanings are about, you know, bringing it down to your level. It's very easy language to understand. This would be a book that if someone said, hey, you know, I'm really interested in tarot and I happen to have with me, I would definitely give this book away, and I wouldn't feel bad about doing it. I'd be like, here, use this book. This book is awesome. Now, sorry, have to turn off the heater because it's getting hot in here. Even the puppy that's in here with me is like, oh my gosh, turn it off. Like I said, I haven't really bought a lot of tarot books, but this month I did purchase 2. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if I was going to be away from my space, the tarot books I would want with me would be the books that I am reading now, or at that time, the tarot books that are in use. I bought Tarot for Yourself, the 2nd edition by Mary K. Greer. I bought it on my Kindle, which is why I'm not holding it up to show you. And I literally just bought it a couple days ago. And I know you're saying, Misty, how could you buy that on your Kindle? It's a workbook. I know it's a workbook, but I really don't like writing in books. So buying it on a Kindle and me using like one of my notebooks or a binder to write in is something that I had planned on doing in the first place. I just don't like writing in books. I bought like The Artist's Way and The Artist's Way workbook, and I just couldn't bring myself to write in the workbook. So I used a binder for that too. So yeah, and I literally just started reading that book. So that would be a book that I'd want to take with me because it's something that it's in use now. And then the second book I bought is Your Tarot, Your Way by Barbara Moore. I really can't talk too much about that book because I haven't started reading it yet. Normally I do read, several books at a time, but I just, since both of these are kind of work through books, I didn't feel like I could give the books the attention that they needed, reading them simultaneously. So yeah, just the books that I would use now or whenever the trip would have to be, would be the 3 books that I would want with me. And then the 3 tarot spreads that you would want to take with you. Probably the first one, it's not very original, is the 3-card spread. Now, I know you're saying, but Misty, what 3-card spread? Would it be mind, body, and spirit? Would it be past, present, future? How would you use that? For me, I read the 3-card spread a little differently. I read it linear, more as a sentence than as, this is past, this is present, this is future. For some reason, I have never been able to grasp the concept of how reading a 3-card spread as past, present, future, mind, body, spirit, sunrise, sunset, and noon as, sorry, I got that out of order, as how I would phrase that to answer a question. So if somebody asked me a question, we'll just use, is this a good job for me? I have never been able to make the connection of past, present, future, how that would affect, is this job good for me? So instead I would just look at the cards and try to read them as a linear sentence to answer that question. Obviously, it would be more than just one sentence, but that's how I'm trying to explain it. Sort of like, is this job good for me? I would just read the cards and see what they have to say and what feelings and impressions and the symbols forward would answer that question for that person. So I hope that made sense. Probably not, but I'm just going with it. And the second spread that I would bring with me would be my 5-card spread. It's just one that I use all the time for everything. What's the matter, puppy? You want out? There you go. So, the 5-card spread is basically a 3-card spread with 2 cards clarifying. It's sort of, I know I've explained it in other videos past, but it sort of looks like an upside down T. There's the bottom 3 cards, which to me symbolize the situation. Like, we'll use the job one again. Is this a good job for me? There'd be the 3 cards. That would be the situation about this job, what this job is going to bring to you. Then you have I place the 4th card above the 2nd card in the 3-card spread, if you're reading them this way. And that card to me is leading up to the outcome. That is everything surrounding you being in this job. And then the 5th card is basically the outcome. Everything that's leading up to the outcome. And then I read that out as a possible, basically, outcome to the situation, the question, and everything. And I use that spread for everything. It's I use it for daily spreads, monthly spreads, just general what's going on in my life kind of spread. So yeah, those are the 2 main spreads that I use on a regular basis. Now, this 3rd spread that I use is, it's not my spread. I didn't come up with it, and I didn't come up with the 3-card spread, and I'm pretty sure that there's something pretty comparable to my 5-card spread that I use. So this one is, it's A Walk in the Woods. It's Arwen Lynch's spread. I'm a bit of an Arwen Lynch fangirl. I can't help it. I've been watching her forever now. And I loved her fairy tale spreads. She had a really cool one for a mirror. And I loved her like geisha fan spread. And she had a geisha tea house spread that I thought was just really cool. But I just really enjoy the symbolism of this spread. It's a 6-card spread. It's made to look like a winding path. And it's not that much different than my 5-card spread, just the layout and the symbolism really appeared to me. Basically, you start off on this journey. I have it pulled up here, so I'll put a link into it to her webpage where you can go and look at the spread in a little bit more detail. But basically, the first card is you're starting on your journey, and then that's, this is where you're starting from. The 2nd card is you hear a twig cracking in the brush, and that's what you're afraid of. 3rd card is you pull your shawl around you. That's what comforts you. The 4th card is you see a deer with their fawn crossing in front of you. That's what you didn't expect. Then an owl swoops down, and that's what you learn along this path. And then the last card is you reach the end of your journey. Now, I really like the symbolism in this. Of autumn's my favorite time, so I like the fact that you're starting off in autumn, but you can use it to any season. And I really like the fact that it's a deer with its fawn crossing in front of you instead of say a wolf, which I love wolves though, but wolves can be a little scary when you see them in the woods. Because what's unexpected is not necessarily scary. It's not necessarily there to frighten you. And then you have the owl, which I'm, like everybody else, I love owls. So you have the owl that you learn from, which is, pretty symbolic in itself. So I just really enjoy this spread, and I use it for monthly readings, weekly readings, when I feel I need to shake my creativity a little bit, because it definitely leads to story building, which I enjoy. I love using tarot to tell stories. And so those are that, and then the spreads I would use. And then as for my wild card, I say I would have to have a notebook and pens. I am such a notebook and pen fanatic. I love them. I'm addicted to them. I buy them as much as I can. One of the best things that ever happened to me was when I was back home in Louisiana. They had just simple spiral bound notebooks on sale for 10 cents. And a coworker bought me 12 of them. That made my day. So I'm not the best on tarot journaling, but I think if I was away from home, I would definitely feel out of place without a notebook and some pens and maybe some colored pencils just to write down, you know, tarot musings and things like that. So I think that would be really, really important for me to have in my tarot toolkit, basically. So yeah, that's my answer to the tags. And I think I figured out what spread I'm going to do for today. I'll do the Walk in the Woods spread later on. So yeah, this was a bit of an intimidating tag simply because everybody out there has done such amazing videos, and I enjoyed watching them so much, seeing what y'all would have in your toolkit and everything. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. I love to hear your comments if you're doing the tag. If you're not, just general thoughts on tarot would be kind of nice. So yeah, bye y'all. Thank you so much.